This is such a great moment of Ben Shapiro talking in Israel recently, where he talks about the response of Israel in the aftermath of October 7th and how this has been, in some ways, Israel's greatest moment. The fact that she has roared back in the face of genocidal intent, not just from Hamas, but from so many surrounding enemies, and not just in the region, but also in the PR and political battles around the world's magnifying glass being on Israel. And yet she has shown the most incredible courage, tenacity, ingenuity, military might, and unity. Have a watch of Ben Shapiro's words where he's reflecting on this very fact. Have a watch.
My family and I, we were in Israel just before October 7th. We actually left right before the last Chag. We were here for the Chagim. We left on October 6th. We got back to the United States. And of course, we started hearing via my security team in the United States what had happened on October 7th. And like everybody else, I mean, we were very far away, but like everybody else, we were shocked and we were perturbed and we were disturbed at the deepest level because it didn't feel just like a massive terror attack, which of course it was, or an act of war, which of course it was, or an attempted act of genocide, which of course it was. It felt like it struck at the heart of what Israel was, at the heart of Israel's hopes, at the heart of its aspirations. And the mark of a great civilization is not that it is never surprised, is not that it is never damaged. It is that when it is surprised, and when it is damaged, and when it is hurt, it roars. And what we have seen from the state of Israel, from you, is precisely that. The most astonishing military operations in the history of modern warfare. Yes, in Gaza, yes, in Lebanon. A social fabric that just moments before October 7th seemed to be fraying at every corner, suddenly coming together and proving itself more durable and stronger than the social fabric of pretty much any other nation on the planet. People who 5 minutes ago were fighting each other in the streets, suddenly side by side, from every walk of life. It was unbelievable. Now, why is that important? Why is that important to the West? Why does the West care so much would be a good question. I've spent a lot of this last year doing something much less important, talking. Right? I go to a bunch of colleges and universities, or I'm debating people in the media about what's going on here. And the real question I think that needs to be asked is why anyone cares. Seriously, why does anyone care? It's a pretty important question. After all, for those of us in the United States, it's 8,000 miles away. In the scale of global conflict, it's actually a fairly small global conflict. There are multiple global conflicts that are currently taking place that have a higher dead toll than what's currently going on in Gaza or in Lebanon. And yet it's at the front of everybody's mind. Why is that? And the reason is because it's indicative of a far larger battle that's taking place across the West. A battle that I've characterized as the battle between lions and scavengers. Lions are people who want to build. Lions are people who believe that they have a duty to themselves, to their families, and to their civilization to build, to make life better for people around them, to innovate, to build social fabric, to defend themselves and their families. Those are the lions. And then there's a scavenger mentality. And this is what's so important about what's going on. The scavenger mentality has now become not just common, but de rigueur among a huge percentage of the left in the West. And the scavenger mentality goes something like this. If you are successful in life, it is because you have victimized somebody else. If you're a failure in life, it's because you have been victimized by somebody else. This is a pernicious and evil idea. In fact, it's an idea that goes all the way back to Cain and Abel. And the basic idea of Cain and Abel is that Cain isn't actually victimized, but treats himself as a victim and therefore takes it out on Abel. And the message of that story, obviously, is the Musar that God gives to Cain, where he says to him that sin crouches at your door, but you have the capacity to overcome it. Well, that is a lesson that the left not only refuses to learn, but believes is wrong. They believe that the world can be divided into oppressor and oppressed, and that the way you can tell whether somebody is an oppressor or whether they're oppressed is by their failure in the world. When grafted onto the current conflict in the Middle East, what that amounts to is that the single most unsuccessful people in the region, the people who decided to elect Hamas, who decided to spend billions of dollars building terror tunnels, who decided to spend all of their lives and the lives of their children in pursuit of death of a more successful people, that those people are actually victims. And the people who innovate, the people who have built an enormous tech sector, the people who have built a workable economy, despite all of the obstacles, which I'll get to in a moment, despite all of the ridiculous obstacles, a tiny state in the midst of a great wave of areas that are not particularly friendly toward Jews or freedom or decency, that despite all of that, Israel thrives. That is precisely its sin.
This is so fascinating. He's exactly right that Israel has shown the most incredible roaring back despite all the challenges that the country and the people have faced. And of course, it's going to irk people who like to wallow in victim mentality, and that's their whole approach to life, to point the finger of blame at others and wallow in victim mentality. The Jewish people break that, go against that message so powerfully, because for thousands of years, we've been few in numbers, scattered all over the world, intensely persecuted, and yet we are a bit of an outlier when it comes to victimized groups in that we don't wallow. Yes, we remember, we feel the pain, but out of the ashes comes new life, always. We always say l'chaim. Look at how Israel emerged out of the ashes of a genocide against the Jewish people. And also nearly 1 million Jews being expelled from the Arab world. Look how the Jewish people have done so much to contribute to society. And not just in material ways, but also in terms of values. Being the custodians of God's morality and prophecy. It's the most remarkable story, and of course, those who have the scavenger mentality, as Ben says, of course, are going to be hostile to that. They're going to find it somehow it's going to irk them too much. And Israel really does represent that in the most remarkable way. But as Ben is absolutely right also to point out, we should not allow, therefore, the pointing of the fingers and the shame and the accusations leveled at Israel to deter us, because that's where a lot of this is coming from. Instead, we should take a moment to actually marvel at the ingenuity and the resilience of the people of Israel and the Jewish people, not just now, but throughout our history. The second president of America, John Adams, said that the Hebrews, the Jewish people, have contributed to the affairs of mankind more happily than any other nation, despite, as Mark Twain put it, having their hands tied behind their backs for most of their history. So it's just the most remarkable phenomenon, and frankly, it's a miracle. And we should make sure that we can see that clearly. So Ben is absolutely right in his assessment and his description of what's happened in the aftermath of October 7th, and how in many ways it's a microcosm of Israel's history and Jewish history. Now, we're trying to get this message out there about how actually Jewish history and Israel's history, far from being something to want to turn away from, is something that is so inspiring that should be able to inspire the world. That's what we're doing with this channel. Have a watch. The world is full of lies.
That Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu bear criminal responsibility.
The truth is under attack.
Which river, which sea? So you don't know the answer.
From the media to the UN to celebrities, lies reign supreme. But the thing about the truth is that no matter how dark a room of lies, if you light one candle of truth, it can light up the whole room. That's why I created JTV, the global Jewish YouTube channel. We have been lighting the flame of truth on social media. We believe that the key to defeating anti-Semitism isn't just in fighting the hate, but it's about creating pro-Semitism and sharing the truth. There's nothing inevitable about anti-Semitism. We just need to tell our story with confidence, pride, and love. We believe that telling the truth, exposing the lies, and sharing the wisdom and beauty found within the Jewish story and the ideas of Judaism can transform the world. We're reaching millions of people all around the world from all backgrounds and perspectives. Every day we are transforming people's views about Israel, Jews, and Judaism. How do we know? Because they tell us. But there's so much more we can do. It's time for us to build a team to accelerate our growth and produce way more content that can appeal to even more people. We want to hire more presenters, start doing documentary series, and way more. And if we do that, JTV will start competing with the other big media players who peddle anti-Israel narratives. And that's where you come in. I'm asking you to please partner with us on our journey to spread the truth to the entire world by donating whatever you can to this fundraiser. Together, we will harness the power of social media to shine the light of truth to the whole world. Thank you so much for your support. So that is our campaign video. As you can see from the campaign, we're nearly at 40% of the way there, but there's not that much time remaining. I've explained in the video what we're trying to do to accelerate our growth. If you believe in what we're doing, if you want to partner with us in expanding our impact to a world that is truth deprived and deprived of moral clarity, please do get involved. Please click on that link in the video description and help us. What's amazing is that many people who are just JTV viewers took pages where they have their own custom link to reach out to their contacts. These are people that most of whom, the vast majority of whom, I don't know, but they appreciate our work. And the fact that they've taken the time to do that, to reach out to their contacts, is a testimony to the impact that we're having on JTV. But if they can do that, can you at least just click on that link and chip in what you can? And if you're able to also share it with other people who you think will appreciate what we're doing, that would be terrific. You can click on this video here at the top to watch the campaign video that I just played for you. And you can share that with friends and family. Together, collectively, if we all pull together, we can have a massive impact. So there's not much time now before the campaign time ends, basically. So please get involved and let's meet our target. Thank you so much.